My best friend slept with my husband and then tried to blame me. For most of my life, I believed I was a good judge of character. I thought I knew who I could trust. Turns out, I was dead wrong. My best friend Sophie and I had been inseparable since we were 13. We went through everything together: school, heartbreaks, our parents' divorces. We even got matching tattoos when we turned 18. I was her maid of honor when she got married. She was supposed to be mine too. Fast forward to my late 20s. I married David, a quiet but kind man who worked in finance. Sophie had always gotten along with him, too well, maybe, but I didn't see it then. I was just happy they liked each other. At first, it was little things. She texted him memes late at night. She'd laugh a little too hard at his jokes. Once, I even caught her brushing lint off his shirt in a way that felt intimate. But I brushed it off. "You're overthinking," I told myself. "They're just friends." Then came the night everything shattered. David and I were hosting a small get-together. Sophie was, of course, invited. Around midnight, most people had gone home. I started cleaning up while Sophie said she'd help David with something upstairs. I thought nothing of it, until I went up to grab a spare blanket. I heard them. I heard her. And I will never forget the sound of her whispering, "You never should have married her." I didn't confront them then. I froze, backed away, and cried in the garage until morning. The next day, I calmly told David I knew. He didn't deny it. Neither did Sophie. But here's the worst part. Sophie blamed me. She said I'd emotionally abandoned her when I got married. That she was the one who felt betrayed. That she and David just happened and it was inevitable. She tried to paint herself as the victim, said I had changed, become distant, like I had left her behind. I blocked her that same day. I divorced David 6 months later. He tried to get back together. Said he made a mistake. He probably did, they didn't even last. Sophie moved to another city, and from what I hear, she's alone now. But I still have nightmares. I still second-guess everyone's motives. And I still can't bring myself to get another tattoo, because the one I have, the one that matches hers, burns every time I remember what she did. So yeah, Reddit. That's how I lost my husband and my best friend in the same night. And I still don't know which betrayal hurt more. I thought it was over, until I found out she's pregnant. 6 months after the betrayal, I was doing better, or at least pretending well enough to get through each day. Therapy helped. So did cutting off all contact with both Sophie and David. I even moved apartments, changed my number, and started a new job in another part of town. But peace didn't last. It started with a message request from a mutual friend, Jenna. I hadn't spoken to her in a while, but curiosity got the better of me. Her message read: "I thought you should know. Sophie's pregnant. She says it's David's." My hands went cold. Pregnant? With his child? I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to care. But something twisted deep in my gut, like I was being stabbed all over again. I'd always dreamed of starting a family with David. We had talked about names. We'd even picked out furniture. And now, she had it. I didn't reply to Jenna. But I started watching Sophie's Instagram from a fake account I made during the divorce. She had gone private, but not before I caught one of her stories, a picture of a sonogram. Captioned, "Little Miracle 2 Hearts." I almost threw my phone across the room. She was parading it. No shame. No regret. Just joy. But something didn't add up. In that same story, the date on the ultrasound didn't match. If she was 6 months along, that meant. I did the math. No way it was David's. They had slept together once, that night. And it was just over 6 months ago. She had been seeing someone else. My heart dropped. Could it be? I messaged Jenna back. Do you know who the father actually is? She replied. You're not gonna believe this. It might be her ex. The guy she cheated on before she cheated with David. That's when something in me snapped. Sophie didn't love David. She didn't even want him. She just wanted what I had. She destroyed my marriage not out of love, but out of jealousy. It wasn't about David. It was never about him. It was about me. A few days later, David called. For the first time in months. I almost let it go to voicemail. But curiosity won again. His voice was quiet. Shaky. I think I made the worst mistake of my life, he said. She's not who I thought she was. All I said was. You deserve each other. And hung up. But even after that. I didn't feel better. I felt unfinished. Because people like Sophie don't just go away. They come back. They twist stories. They rewrite the narrative. And I knew deep down, she wasn't done with me yet. She started spreading lies about me, and I lost everything. A few weeks after hanging up on David, things started to unravel again, slowly, like a rope fraying thread by thread. At first, I didn't notice it. A few cold stares at work. A couple of mutual friends suddenly not responding to my messages. Then it got worse. One morning, my manager asked to speak with me privately. She pulled up a screenshot. It was from an anonymous email sent to HR. It accused me of manipulating a vulnerable coworker into a relationship, claiming I had slept with a married man at my last job and caused a divorce. I froze. The email didn't mention names, but it was obvious who it was about. Me and David. But the details were twisted, almost like someone rewrote the truth in reverse. She says I stole her husband, I told my manager, voice shaking. But she was the one who. My manager cut me off. We're not making any decisions right now. Just, be careful. That day, I went home and cried harder than I had in months. Sophie was trying to destroy what was left of my life, professionally, socially, emotionally. And she wasn't done. Over the next few days, I saw it all unfold on social media. From her new private account, she posted vague quotes. Funny how some people play the victim after ruining your life. Not everyone deserves a happy ending. Our mutual friends, the few I had left, started liking and commenting. One even messaged me, saying, I didn't know you were that kind of person. I felt sick. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was a campaign. A week later, I hit my breaking point. I showed up at her apartment. Not to scream. Not to beg. But to end it. She opened the door, surprised. Heavily pregnant now. Barefoot and smug. I knew you'd come, she said. You need to stop, I said quietly. You got what you wanted. You took him. You humiliated me. But this, ruining my name, this is too far. She smirked. You think I ruined your life? You abandoned me first. You left me behind. Like I didn't matter. I got married, Sophie. That's not betrayal. That's growing up. She stared at me for a long time. Then said. You always thought you were better than me. Prettier. Smarter. More loved. But guess what? People are finally seeing the real you now. Something in me snapped. I laughed. Actually laughed. Good luck raising a baby in a house built on lies, I said. Because the truth has a way of showing up eventually. And when it does, you'll be the one alone. And I left. It's been 2 months since that day. Sophie went quiet, at least for now. The HR situation at work cleared up after I showed proof of our divorce and the timeline. Most people stopped talking. Some apologized. But I'll never forget how close I came to losing everything. Because of someone I once called family. And even though I survived, I'll never trust the same way again. I exposed the truth, and she finally fell. I was tired of playing defense. For months, I had been surviving, barely. Picking up the shattered pieces of my reputation, my sanity, my life. But no more. Sophie had turned everyone against me with half-truths and twisted stories. And it was time to remind people what really happened. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. So I started gathering everything. The old texts between Sophie and David. The photos. The exact time-stamped messages where she flirted with him before anything happened. Voice notes she sent me when we were still friends, where she admitted her jealousy, even saying things like, "You're so lucky. You always get the good ones." I compiled it all into a folder. And then I wrote my side of the story. Not for her. Not even for David. But for everyone who thought I was the villain. I posted it on a private subreddit we all used to follow. A kind of digital journal space for women in our city. A few of our mutual friends were members. It wasn't meant to go viral, just to be seen. It started like this. My best friend of 15 years slept with my husband, lied about it, then tried to ruin my life. Here's what really happened. I laid it out in detail. The betrayal. The fake pregnancy timeline. The manipulation. The screenshots were redacted, names blurred, but anyone who knew us could connect the dots. Within hours, it blew up. Messages started pouring in. Wait, is this about Sophie? I knew something felt off with her. I'm so sorry I believed her. I had no idea. By the next day, people were unfollowing her en masse. One of our mutual friends, the same one who accused me weeks ago, messaged me privately. I feel sick. She lied to all of us. You didn't deserve any of this. Sophie must have seen it, because 2 days later, she finally messaged me. How could you do this to me? I'm about to have a baby. I stared at her message for a long time. Then I wrote back. You started this war. You made me fight for my name. You used your pregnancy as a shield for your lies. And now you're mad because people finally saw who you really are. She left me on read. That was the last time we ever spoke. A month later, I heard from Jenna again. Sophie had given birth. Alone. David wasn't even at the hospital. Turns out, he had quietly started dating someone new. And Sophie? She was living with her mother, jobless, isolated. A shell of who she once pretended to be. But me? I was finally free. Not just from them, but from the guilt. The shame. The weight of everything she tried to pin on me. I got a new tattoo last week. Not to cover the old one, but next to it. A phoenix. Because I didn't need to erase the past. I just needed to rise above it. A year later, I finally moved on. Until I saw her again. It's been over a year since everything fell apart. I moved to a new apartment across the city. Got a better job at a smaller, quieter company. Started spending weekends hiking, reading, and for the first time in forever, not looking over my shoulder. And then I met someone. His name is Mark. We met in the most ordinary way, at a bookstore, reaching for the same novel. He's gentle. Funny. Thoughtful in the ways that don't shout, but whisper. He never asked about my past until I was ready to talk. And when I did, he didn't flinch. He said, "Sounds like you've been through hell. But you came out stronger." With him, I finally started to believe that love doesn't always mean betrayal. We've been dating for 6 months now. And for the first time in a long, long time, I feel happy. But life, as always, has a twisted sense of timing. A few weeks ago, Mark took me to a small community cafe near his place. It was cozy, filled with the sound of clinking cups and soft jazz. We sat at a table near the window, sipping coffee and sharing a slice of cake. And then I looked up, and saw her. Sophie. She looked thinner. Tired. Pushing a stroller. Her hair tied in a loose bun, her face pale. There was no glow, no smugness. Just exhaustion. Our eyes met. For a moment, time froze. She hesitated, as if she was about to walk over. But I just gave her the smallest shake of my head, and turned away. Mark noticed. "You okay?" I nodded. "That's just someone I used to know." She stood there a second longer. Then quietly turned around, and left. And just like that, the war was finally over. Not because she surrendered. Not because she apologized. But because I no longer needed anything from her. No closure. No justice. No apology. I had everything I needed already, peace. That night, I lay in bed beside Mark, his hand resting gently over mine. And for the first time, I didn't feel the past creeping into my thoughts. No memories, no flashbacks, no bitterness. Just warmth. Just presence. Just now. Because the best revenge isn't destruction. It's healing. Forgiveness was never for her, it was for me. Months passed after I saw Sophie outside that cafe. I never ran into her again. I never looked her up, never asked mutual friends, never checked her socials. I didn't care who she was dating now, if she was still alone, or if David had come crawling back again. None of it mattered anymore. But something still lingered inside me. Not hatred. Not even sadness. Just a question I couldn't answer. What if it happens again? Not with Sophie. But with someone else. Someone I trust. Someone I love. After betrayal like that, you don't just move on. You rebuild your instincts from the ground up. You doubt good people. You look for cracks in every smile. You overanalyze silence. You prepare for the next explosion before the match is even struck. And I hated that part of me. So I went back to therapy. And one day, my therapist asked me something that stopped me cold. "Have you forgiven her?" I almost laughed. Why should I? She never apologized. She ruined my life. She nodded. Then who's still holding the weight? That question sat in my chest for weeks. Forgiveness? For her? No. Not for her. For me. Because forgiveness isn't about freeing the person who hurt you. It's about letting go of the part of yourself that stays shackled to the pain. So one night, I did something I didn't expect. I wrote Sophie a letter. I didn't send it. I didn't even sign it. But I wrote every word I needed to say. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it. But because I do. Because I won't carry you in my heart anymore. You are not my story's ending. You are just one cruel chapter. And I have so much more left to write. I folded the paper, lit a candle, and burned it. And with the ashes, something lifted off my chest. Last weekend, Mark proposed. It wasn't grand or extravagant. It was quiet. Just us, in the woods during a hike. He pulled out a small silver ring and said, "Let's write the rest together." And I said yes. Not because I needed saving. Not because I was healed. But because I finally wanted to open my heart again, fully, fearlessly. Because I'm not defined by who betrayed me. I'm defined by how I rose. Just when I thought it was over. A letter arrived. 3 weeks after I said yes to Mark, life finally felt like mine again. We were planning a small wedding, nothing fancy, just close friends, nature, music, and love. I had even reached out to a few people I'd grown distant from during the whole Sophie David mess, and surprisingly, many of them welcomed me back. Healing is strange. It's never loud. It just happens in quiet moments. Like when you laugh without flinching. Or when you wake up and don't check if someone's talking behind your back. But then one morning, something arrived in the mail. A handwritten envelope. No return address. Just my name. The handwriting stopped me cold. It was hers. I stared at it for a long time. Thought about tearing it in half. Burning it. Ignoring it. But curiosity, as always, won. Inside was a single folded sheet of lined paper. No greeting. No date. Just this. I've been thinking about writing to you for months, but I didn't think you'd ever read it. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll rip this up. Maybe you should. I'm sorry. Not for what I did, I know that's unforgivable, but for how long I lied to myself about it. I was jealous of you. For years. You had the kind of stability I never could hold on to. You were loved. Chosen. I hated that about you. So I destroyed it. I ruined my own life trying to ruin yours. David left. The baby is mine alone. I've been in and out of jobs. And honestly, I think I deserve it. I'm not writing to ask for your forgiveness. I know I don't get that. I just wanted you to know the truth, you were never the villain. I was. And I hope, somehow, you're happy now. I sat there for a while. Silent. Still. No tears. No rage. Just emptiness. And then, slowly, peace. Because this time, I didn't feel the need to reply. Or fix anything. Or dig up the past. Sophie was right about one thing, she did destroy herself trying to destroy me. But what she didn't understand, is that I had already let her go. I folded the letter, put it in a box with the burned remains of the one I wrote her, and tucked it away in the back of my closet. Not to forget. But to remember how far I've come. Because the scars remind me, I survived. Next month, I'll walk down the aisle. Not broken. Not bitter. But whole. Not everyone gets closure in this life. But I did. And I gave it to myself.